this is a massive generalization, but I believe it in my core so deeply that the majority of our world suffering comes from us not being free to be ourselves. And if we move past the need to survive, to have shelter, water, food, and clothing, everything after that comes from the ways in which we start to restrict, to shut down, to cut off, to hide, mask who we really are. And I'm not saying there aren't good reasons for doing that when we're younger, because we had to survive. We had to not get in trouble. We had to get our needs met because we were dependent on other people to live. That we wanted to be loved, to feel valued, to be acknowledged, to not be ostracized. And these all have to do with survival. And so that's why I list out the physical needs of survival, because why I feel so comfortable making that generalization is because our need to not be neglected and left out and thus uncared for is also deeply rooted in survival. And everyone that causes suffering in this world is lacking something inside them. Whether that is the parent that lacked love and now can't show their kid love, whether it is the world leader that oppresses large swaths of the people that they govern because of their own sense of lack and their need for control and power, whether it is the boss that doesn't know how to treat their team kindly because they were not treated kindly and they don't know how to model that, and they think that that is how they should lead or manage. Because every single one of us has to interact with other people. We are all in the people business. And I don't mean this in a business sense. I just mean in a human sense, that every single day our existence is reliant on other people. And inevitably, because we don't want to be neglected, ostracized, left out, uncared for, we conform. We restrict ourselves. We mask, we hide, we adjust, we code switch to make it easier on ourselves in the lightest way and to literally survive in the harshest way. But could you imagine what the world would be like if we all normalized, if it was totally normal that people spoke their mind, even if it was unpopular, that people stated their needs and their wants at all times, even if without trying to force getting it, they were just able to state, here's what I would like, so that there was no misconstruing, there was no hiding, there was no passive aggressive note. Imagine if we all felt like we would be accepted if we shared ourselves in our truest form, that we don't worry about rejection. Like, who would you be? Who could you be? How would you be if you weren't worried about rejection? If you weren't worried about the uncomfortable feeling of someone not validating what you say or do? God, I just imagine how free would our world be if we not only let ourselves be, but we let everyone else be. And that starts with us knowing what simply being ourselves, feeling enough feels like. Being enough feels like. What being loved feels like. What being valued feels like. What being just cared for, not because you had to earn it, feels like. And I don't say this in a coddling way. I don't say this in like every child has to be loved and can do no wrong and we must like kind of wrap them in fucking bubble wrap. I mean in a true sense of there is no expectation of someone being, doing, achieving, attaining, becoming something that they all aren't already, right? That they have to be different than who they already are in order to be cared for, loved, valued, accepted. And because most of us did not receive that when we were younger, and because most of us, our childhood traumas are rooted in those experiences of not getting those things, the only person that can deliver that for us is us. And that doesn't mean that we should self-isolate. That doesn't mean we shouldn't love with our whole hearts. It doesn't mean that we should risk having our hearts broken. That simply means that we cannot expect anyone else to deliver for us what we cannot deliver for ourselves. That we cannot keep hoping and wishing for something from the outside, whether that is another person, that is an experience, that is something you can buy, that is something you can attain, something you can achieve, that will give you the love, care, value, acceptance that we all fundamentally need to feel like we're okay. And the sooner, all of us is my dream, but more of us realize that it has to start with us, that we have to be the ones who love ourselves, trust ourselves, believe in ourselves, accept ourselves the most, that we can do all those things for ourselves to make ourselves whole, that it is not anyone else's fault that we currently don't have that, because currently we are the only ones who are responsible for ourselves. And there's no one to blame for us not having all of the things that we need if we can't provide it for ourselves right now. And I mean the inner stuff. And when we seek it from the outside, inevitably we will be disappointed, because no one else, no thing else should fill the void. It's impossible, because none of those things, none of those people were designed for that purpose. And the void that we're trying to fill is one that is uniquely shaped to ourselves, like our fingerprints. And so the only ones who know the shape of that, who understand what that void needs, is you. It's hard work, but it's the work. And that's the core work we're all here to do. And I hope that if you're watching this to this point, that you're seriously considering how you can start doing that work. And the way that I tell other people to begin, if they ask me, or the people that I work with, or my dear friends who trust my guidance, is to start with getting to know yourself again. Understand yourself deeply. Like, make that the assignment of your life. That for the remainder of the time that you have, your number one job is to understand who the fuck you are and why you are, so that you can deliver for yourself what you need, so that you can be more whole for other people, the people that you love, your family, your kids, your parents, your partners, your best friends, so that you can contribute. Because if we feel the void, if we feel this emptiness, this gap within ourselves, will inevitably cause more suffering, because we will find ways to try and fill that void that are likely unhealthy. But if you understand yourself deeply, and you know why you are, and you can start to build the muscles that you need to be with your void, if you can't fill it, then that's the beginnings of mastering yourself, of actualizing yourself. And that's what we're all here for. So I hope you'll join us in doing that. If not together, then certainly by yourself. But if you want to do that with other people, we meet regularly to talk about just that. Right now, the cadence is weekly. That can change because it's a free call. It's just people who want to center their lives and what matters. And we'd love to support you if you want to join us.